Super. BS.
Well, here we are again. It's I lovable baby boy Brank back from the dead, ready to break some bread. I'm joined by multiple people, and I'm going to reveal them myself this time. No self-revealing, okay, or self-flagellation for that matter. This person who can only speak after I introduce Jim as the despised one, Jank. Jank, what do you have to say for yourself as a despised individual?
I am multiple people. I
knew.
Yeah.
That's what I meant when I said you were multiple people. I meant you, the individual, is actually multiple people. So I didn't mean that.
People. That's my schizophrenia diagnosis. Is you don't have to talk about it on the show, man. All right.
Well, that's what I love. I love talking to multiple people at once.
Gerald, I just want to make sure he's real, right?
Yes. As far as I know,
person. Okay.
I am not real. I am a figment of
AI.
imagination.
Okay.
I am AI. That's
what 200 episodes of me talking to myself for all. I know.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how it always goes. And we're joined by the Glass Man. Glass Man, what have you been up to?
Doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I stopped by the WWE World Convention and Superstore earlier today. Yep. That was at the Las Vegas Convention Center. JSJ, who's still trying to push me into buying a Switch 2, and I keep telling, he says Switch 2, Switch 2, Switch 2, and I responded, resell, resell, resell. I have no desire to, for my own sake, to buy a $450 or $500 PS4. I already have one. That's right behind the chair, right behind me, right there. So I'm good.
It with you, man. You can't take it with you when you go.
That depends. I can. It's not that heavy, but I don't want to scratch it because it is my Uncharted 4 one. So don't want to go ahead and scratch that one. It's really nice. It's actually a collector's item, so it's kind of still worth $250, $300. So kind of
this guy is going to be buying 6 copies of the Switch 2 when they come out. He's not going to sell
only
any of them. He's gonna
I am going to sell all of them if that's the case.
So it's going to be a really similar to Concord scenario for him too, where he bought it just because he supports.
Oh, no, that'll be Marathon. Yes, if I hear Marathon, the sales are really, or the what's the, when you go with Steam, the rate, the amount of people that are interacting online with it. If I see that rate go down as low as,
you're gonna buy as many as you can.
I want you guys to know I have a collector's item too. I drew a Master Chief on my PS4, and it's one of a kind. Yeah,
dude,
that is what'd you draw, in crayon, or how do you get it on there?
In Sharpie. Okay, I use more permanent tools and crayons. Okay,
dude, how crazy would it be if you actually did that though? Like a Dumbledore over there you drew on your PlayStation 4. Okay, well, before we get to gaming news, there's been some stuff. Gerald is a huge fan of really high budget films made by Sony Production Studios. Specifically, I'm talking about the one that he has bought midnight tickets, probably 10 midnight tickets for. It is called Until Dawn. And Gerald, let everybody know just how many times you're planning on watching it.
0. First off, again, when it comes right down to it, when it comes to this movie, first off, okay, Until Dawn was a fairly successful video game. It came out, what, 8 years ago, guys? 7, 8 years ago?
Like 2015. So honestly, it's probably been closer to 10.
But Quantic Dream, are they the ones that make that?
Yeah.
No. They didn't make. No, Quantic Dream is the one who made Detroit Become Human. Until Dawn is the Supermassive Games. They split off and they did all the other horror games that are exactly like this.
Oh, okay. And I remember.
I think, it was 2015 title. So it's 10 years. Crazy. And they did that remaster last year that didn't do very well.
So this movie, so Sony took the hint and said, okay, to go ahead and greenlight this. It's probably one of those, it's probably not a very expensive movie to make, but my question is, with the cast of Until Dawn that was in the video game, Rami Malek, for one, who was just in his own movie that unfortunately has not done very well.
Oh, I actually really like that movie. I saw it last week.
Which one?
But
The Amateur.
Yeah,
anyways,
the Amateur, where he's working for, what's it, the CIA, and then his wife gets killed, so he goes into business for himself. The only thing with that, why wasn't he asked to do this movie or Hayden Panettiere,
Oh,
or
I'm
all
sure
the other.
they were all asked. They probably didn't want to do it because if you looked at the trailer that we just were showing, the budget looks like it's like maybe $1 million or whatever, and it's trying to go after the cheap stuff.
Early 2000 horror movies that came out.
Yeah.
You know, like
Hills
House of
Have Eyes?
Wax with Paris Hilton.
It
Yeah,
just,
Hills Have Eyes. Yeah.
and they're sending this out to death. There's another, The Accountant 2 is coming out this weekend, plus Sinners did well, actually above expectations over this past weekend. Minecraft is still out. We're a week out, a little over a week out, Josh, from the Marvels putting out the Thunderbolts. This movie is going to get destroyed. And Sony just, again, sometimes Sony makes money in spite of themselves, like with the PlayStation 5, but you and I, we over the years, we've talked about so many Sony peripherals that they've sent to die, or so many games that they've sent to die, so many projects they've sent to die. This movie, again, it's probably not that expensive to make. I'm saying probably about 20 mil, 25 mil, maybe most, as far as the budget. Whatever they're going to get back, they probably won't lose too much on it, but still, they are sending this to die, Josh, this weekend.
Absolutely.
Well,
But
I mean, they're not going to say it to die. Josh is going to watch it probably like 10 times at least. So he's going to bring up that budget, bring up that box office himself.
All $50 that it makes will be.
Well, if he shows his national university student ID, he'll probably go in for $5 a shot. So that's $50 right there.
This is true.
That is good.
On a side note, Minecraft is going to pass $1 billion. I feel
it's at 730, 720. Yeah,
I have a feeling it will not make over $100 million at all. Okay, I don't care what it's at right now. It will die at the $100 million hill. It is not making $1 more. Okay, I can't find the Until Dawn production budget. Some people are saying as much as $50 million.
Oh my God! If that's the case, then whoever greenlit this is on crack. It's just that simple. Just that simple. My God.
It's good, but I mean, hey, the world of video gaming news is not all bad. We also have
there's another entity out there before we go into it. Last of Us Season 2.
Yeah, that's what I was about to talk about, man. That's what I want to show you guys. And honestly, it's another Sony produced thing, a Naughty Dog game. I mean, that first season was incredible.
1 out of 2. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. So
yeah. I still think season 2 so far is very good. We won't spoil what happened yesterday's episode.
It was that Kevin's mom from Home Alone, right?
That was Kevin's mom. This is actually a Home Alone prequel. So that's it's kind of interesting. It sets up the story for Home Alone. So it's a very unique film.
All this happened because Marvin Harry is all they're doing.
That's the spoil at the very end of it. Is the spoiler?
Well, my question is, after what happened in this past episode, will they have the Walking Dead drop off as far as audience participation? And I'll just leave it at that.
I have a feeling that this show is not. I mean, if there are people who drop off, then Game of Thrones doesn't make sense, because if you remember, the biggest actor in Game of Thrones, Sean Bean, which I feel like I can spoil at what happened to him at this point. I think it's been over 10 years.
Ned Stark.
And that book is 30 or 40 years old at this point. He died in the first season, right? Like that was kind of like the penultimate episode.
Hey, she died in Game of Thrones too, though.
It's funny. Pedro Pascal died in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so did Pedro Pascal. Yeah,
everybody's dead in Game of Thrones. Okay, but all I'm saying is that's not what made people fall off of Game of Thrones. Obviously,
no, it was the crappy last season.
I will say, like, for me, it was like 5, 6, 7, and 8 were all pretty bad, like comparatively to 1 through 4, right? Like 5 had that horrible Sand Vipers subplot with Jaime Lannister where he goes down, and it's like one of the cheesiest, most CWE style plots I've ever seen in like any HBO show. But 8 had a bunch of rough moments. Nonetheless, I think Last of Us Season 2 is phenomenal. I know Josh watched the last episode on repeat over and over and over again, so he knows every single thing. How many times have you seen that, Jank?
0, actually.
Are you going to watch any of it?
Yeah, no, I am. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and catch up on it.
Have you watched the first episode of Season 2 or no?
No, I haven't watched any Season 2 yet.
I'll just say this, and I said it with Josh earlier before you came on. Okay. Neil Druckmann is he's the guy the director of the 2 games with Naughty Dog. You know how if you sort out through the sometimes very interesting history of Naughty Dog and how he got to power and got to control, and I wonder what Amy Hennig actually would have to say about that, but I'll leave that for another day on
She
that
will
one.
say that she loves Neil Druckmann. He's her best
No-
friend.
no hard
They are
feelings.
no hard
No hard
feelings.
feelings. Yeah,
That's exactly what
Business
she'd
is
say.
business.
Okay,
Yeah.
take her easy.
So he's the executive producer, and one of the two main people as far as the showrunners are concerned, responsible for the Last of Us TV show. And it's interesting how he is seeing his work in a different light and changing things here and there, keeping some things, but changing things as far as time frame and things of that nature that has some fans already on the internet a little bit perturbed. But again, I'll just say after episode 2, it could be a very watershed moment. And I'll just say again, for shows that have done things like that in the past, such as The Walking Dead, it was not to their favor as their ratings went from 15 to 18 million to down to where these sideshows are today at barely 1 million.
I am
I'll just
curious,
leave it at
like
that.
which character you mean in The Walking Dead when you're talking about like which loss of a character.
The Negan episode,
Oh,
the introduction of Negan.
For me, it was
That
that show had gone
got
on
up
too
some
long.
people.
Here's the big spoiler.
But
Negan
Andrew Lincoln leaving was also a key factor as well. Him taking off was his.
Pedro Pascal kills Glenn in the last.
That is exactly how it works. There's a
scene
where Pedro Pascal walks out with a bat. It doesn't make a lot of sense because he walks into a totally different show, and then he acts like this other skeezy guy.
Worst part is it's a wiffle ball bat. I mean,
and
clearly the guy's got the softest hand ever.
It takes forever to kill him. Okay, he's been beating Glenn for hours.
I'll just say Neil Druckmann. He's feeling it. He's feeling the power and control, and I just wish him and the team the best of luck. Season 1 was outstanding. Season 2 is a little bit all over the place for people right now. So I'm hoping that the episodes can align themselves with what they did as far as the greatness of season 1. But Josh and I at times said it was one of the best video game adaptations of all time at the time. Fortunately, we've had since then some other
Fallout
decent to really good like Fallout adaptations. So the future, it set the tone for the future of video game adaptations, that they don't have to all suck, that they can all, that there can be video game adaptations
we want them
that
to suck. That's the main
that make a lot of money and get a lot of people invested into them. So I'm hoping for the best for The Last of Us season 2, especially after what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's never gonna be as good as the Mario movie from the '90s, starring John Leguizamo and the other guy we talked about. And it's definitely not going to be an Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider level of like peak video game films.
Which one? The one with Daniel Craig, or
I don't remember. Is that the second one, The Cradle of Life, or the first one?
I think it's the first one where he's
the first one was good. The second one was as bad as Daniel Craig's fake American accent.
Yeah, I actually really liked those movies, by the way, when I was a kid, because I was like, that was probably the best video game movie that had come out at that point. You know what I mean? Indiana Jones, the Tomb Raider run. But anyways, let's talk about game we've all been playing, because that's what we care about here is games. We don't care about stupid TV.
Hey, real quick. We were talking about streaming stuff last week. If you get a chance to watch The Gorge on Apple TV, it is actually I surprised myself at how much I enjoyed that movie.
So are we supposed to be watching the Devil May Cry anime, or are we supposed to be watching The Gorge? Okay, we don't have time for both of these. We cannot.
And then stay on Apple TV Plus for Severance and The Studio.
And then really stay on Apple TV for Monkey Ball
and your friends and neighbors.
Guys, we're supposed to be talking about games here. Come on.
And the Peanuts Last Christmas and
the
all
Pop
the
Culture
other
Cosmos showed up. Sorry.
Yeah, we got to get all. Hey, so gaming. We've all been playing one really big. It's funny. It's apt that we're talking about Sony shows, because we're going to be talking about a Sony game, South of Midnight. Everybody knows that's a Sony published Game Pass only game. Janky, you've been playing a lot of this bad boy. Where are you at?
I'm in chapter 6 right now. So I've gotten
6 of 14.
6 of 14. So I've gotten a lot of the power-ups. The traversing the world becomes a lot more fun the more
Mhm.
like moves you get or the more like skills you get. The combat never gets easier. It's like I kept thinking to myself, not easier, but like it never becomes more fun. Like you
Yeah.
talked about last
And
week
also
how
not easier, but
and
yes,
not
it's definitely
easier,
not
yeah.
fun.
Because you don't like there aren't combos in it. There's just like
No.
better you just get more abilities, so you think that it's going to, eventually you're going to be able to do all these like sweet combos that just, Devil May Cry style. That's what I keep thinking is going to happen, but it
No.
doesn't.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And they show you in like, if you're watching this, they show you in the trailer like cool things you can do in dodge and stuff. I found the combat, I would have much rather just been like a bullet spongy style, like, hey, smack the guy till they die. Because currently the way it is, where it's like you hit them a bunch and then they do a move you have to run away from. I just don't find it fun or interesting. And then, we talked about this off air, but a lot of the abilities that you get for combat are on timers, but you're expected to use them
Right.
to be able to like fight some of the enemies. And often if you've used them recently, you can't do it. So you like kind of get hit always. I'm only on chapter 4. Gerald, are you still playing South Midnight or no?
I got off it,
Yeah.
to be quite frank with you, because what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes has me really excited. So
You can't even
I'm trying
think
to.
about another game. It's like you don't even
Yes.
want to. You either thought about a game, or you're going to get it out of your head.
Oh,
Right
well,
now,
I'm
okay?
thinking about doing something that Josh will probably pat me on the back for here in a second. That's probably buying a physical copy of it when it gets
Ooh,
announced
buddy.
tomorrow.
And you're probably going to buy a physical Switch too. That's the other surprise that he didn't
And resell it? Yeah, absolutely. I'd do that.
Yeah, no, not resell, to keep it.
You got a download code for the Switch,
I
too,
would
right?
keep that.
Jake-
I already have a PS4. I keep telling you that.
Yeah,
I did trade in my Xbox One, so you could say it's a
ooh.
$450 Xbox One.
That is true. You could say that's for
He hand
which is
drew
the
Nathan
best.
Drake on.
So
There
he
you
has
go.
to. He just wants them all to play nice together.
Put
so he has them all
stickers. I'll put
holding
stickers
hands.
of Master Chief on it. There you go.
I did put a sticker on my PlayStation 2. It wasn't a video game stuff. It was like probably Blink
Yeah, the
182
only
or
way it'll
something.
play Game Pass right now is if you put a
Volcom.
sticker on it that says Post-it note that says Game Pass. There you go.
Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, so before we get into the gaming news, Jank, you gonna finish this one? You gonna finish South of Midnight?
Yeah, so I like it well enough. I mean, I want to play Expedition 33 that comes out this week.
Comes out the day that the Switch 2 pre-orders go live, which I know Gerald's counting
yeah.
down the minutes. He's going to be on there minute 1 buying as many of them as he can.
Yeah, but I mean, so right now, South of Midnight, there's more that I like about the game than I dislike. Like I don't like the combat at all. So anytime I see one of those like circles, I'm like, it just feels like a chore to me.
Same.
But they did a good job. I'm not to compare the game to Alan Wake, because Alan Wake's a completely different animal, and so it's such a better game than this. But they did a good job of making the community like and the world interesting, if that makes sense. Like I feel inclined to walk through the houses and like look at everything and learn like what happened to this place.
It's aesthetically pleasing. It's a very cool Southern mythology, right? Where you're getting these very like mythological animals that are telling you these stories. It is a very good game with probably one of the most boring combat systems I've played in a very long time. I mean, I'm pushing my way through Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is not like a winner in terms of combat, but it's like that feels light years better because there's at least some nuance to it and there's some movement. As long as you're not playing as Yasuke, there's some like countering and stuff you can do. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more to it. South of Midnight, I just really struggle. Every time I see that circle, I just want to shut it off.
Yeah.
So I'm not very far. You know, I'm at like chapter 4 because there's a lot of those circles. Pretty much they're not super frequent, but like in chapter 3, every time before you got to a story beat and you had to do like 4 or 5 of them, there was at least one of those circles, if not 2. And each of those has 5 enemies. And that's the only way you can heal because there's no healing items outside in the world, at least that I've seen. Your character doesn't heal over time. And there's just a lot of decisions that I don't understand because I feel like it's a really great game sandwiched with some like really weird choices. Before we get to real deep news, I want to say that I was right. Elder Scrolls 4 is coming out in April. When you guys doubted me last week and I said it's definitely coming, which check the tape, I said that, and you guys were the ones who were the naysayers. We are going to find out about Elder Scrolls 4, a remaster, remake, we don't even know, tomorrow. By the time you listen to this will have already happened. You'll know more than we will. We're coming from the past right now to speak to you. Are you guys excited? Are you guys going to watch it? I don't even know. Do we know when it's airing?
No, I just said tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow.
No, it's in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah, let me go ahead. I'll look it up again. Go ahead, guys. But yeah, I think there is
so
a special time.
Let's debate this for a minute. What constitutes a remake these
11
days?
a.m. Eastern time, by the way, 8 a.m. Pacific.
So the rumor is that the Elders Oblivion, the original code has been run through the Unreal 5 engine. So at that point, would it still be a remaster or would it be a remake?
I consider it a remaster. If they're using normally they call it a remake when they use new code and or all new polygons or effects, and normally it's considered a remaster when they just do a facelift, right? When they just like change the graphics. Yeah. I'm hoping this is a remake because what I have heard, and I don't know if this rumor is true, but there was original rumors that they were like working on making the blocking more engaging, making more of the combat like Dark Souls and less like, the Morrowind and Skyrim smack a thing a million times till it dies, I don't know. I don't know if they actually did that work because that sounds a lot harder than just, slapping a fresh coat of paint on it. Yeah. But we'll see. I'm also curious, is it actually going to come out tomorrow? Are we just going to see the trailer or
is that supposed to be dropped tomorrow?
The rumor
too?
is it's coming out in April. Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a chance it comes out tomorrow, the day before Expedition 33, which will effectively, I know that's not a Microsoft published title, but they're doing the co-marketing with it. And I feel like that will kill a lot of the interest. Not that Oblivion is going to be like the second coming. This is an old game, but still, I feel like a lot of people love. I like shadow drops. I always find shadow drops to be, when I'm around for them, infinitely interesting.
Yeah.
But the last shadow drop that they did was
Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Oh, was that okay? I was talking about the
that
one before. My bad.
Oh, Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, that. What the game that supposedly didn't win any awards, but won awards. I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah,
yeah.
Because the Xbox exec, one of the Xbox execs said, "Yeah, we want games to be successful, win awards," and then I think the studio shot back by showing a list of trophies that they.
Yeah, I'm still kind of mixed on that. Like, do I think Microsoft should have shuttered that studio? Probably not. So they have foothold in Japan, and we talked about that. But I also don't think it's like, if somebody had a crazy comment or a crazy article, opinion piece on IGN saying like, Hi-Fi Rush was, shutting it down as the death or the soul of Xbox is dead or whatever. It's like, dude, this is a $1 trillion megacorp. Microsoft is. It's not like your best friend. This isn't somebody who's got like some like ethical practice and they only do, they only drink water sourced here and eat vegan food, right? This is a big company. Jank was telling me earlier that they're doing some business in Gaza or something, right? Like this is one of the largest corporations in the whole world. So I do feel like people doing anything other than being like, hey, was it a decision I would have made when I just bought them? No. But also the guy, what's his name? Kamiya? Who's the guy who made the Evil Within 1 and 2? The reason why this studio was created. Was it Hideki Kamiya?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Hideki Kamiya. Anyways, that director left. So I definitely could see like a world. Oh, Shinji Mikami. Mikami. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Shinji Mikami. Yeah, so I definitely see a world where it's like, hey, they lost the talent that Microsoft wanted. They closed it, right? That they closed that with I can never remember the other studio that closed that same day because it just wasn't.
Getting back to the Oblivion, I just think I am so excited for it. You can see behind me.
Yeah.
What one of what I have behind me.
Yeah, you love Mass Effect.
And the Vegas
poster.
We don't see the Oblivion. We don't see the one. We only see the Mass Effect, Halo, and Rainbow Six.
Well, you see the Oblivion. I know you see the Oblivion poster. But anyways, I just worry about the timing. Like you said, why are they railroading Expedition 33? Mm-hmm. I understand they can't do it next month because they are spending a ton of marketing on Doom, the Dark Ages. They actually plastered it all over WrestleMania.
Nice.
Yesterday.
Oh, cool. It's a good place for it.
My question is, why not wait until E3, not E3 time? Like what is that, early June, to go ahead and put it out then? that would have been the perfect time to do it, because they're already doing a press conference / video, whatever they're doing, the homogenized press conferences they're doing now these days, / YouTube videos. Why don't they just do it then? Because they're already announcing that. They've already announced it, plus the Outer Worlds 2. You guys, I think we're talking about what besides, if it's just Outer Worlds 2, what else have they got
for the fall
on the plate?
Yeah.
They should have put this there.
Yeah, I think they were worried about the Switch.
Shadow dropping it on that day would have been absolutely huge. I don't know why that they're having the rush to do it now, because they have South of Midnight that just came out. Avowed is still killing it and is still a very, very solid game. It's it's above an 80-minute credit game that's still is still fresh on people's minds. I just don't get it. I'm glad that they are. I'm glad that they have an abundance of these releases. So, because Josh and I have been through years where Xbox has done nothing. So I'm not trying to look the gift horse in the mouth per se, but I don't understand the timing of it right now. They can't justify it to me. They can't explain it to me, and it makes rational sense on why they're doing it now. I am so glad to have it here.
Yeah.
But I don't understand from a business perspective, why aren't they doing it at another point in time, like in June, July, August, or September?
Well, part of me wonders if it's all the leaks about this game, and they're just like, well, I mean, let's just.
But they've been leaking it for years, Josh. I mean, it was part of the trial.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I kind of agree with Gerald in terms of like the leaks shouldn't have forced their hands at all, because why prove the leakers wrong? They don't owe Nate the hate. Some like, oh man, he leaked it. We got to do it now. He said it was going to happen. But I also wonder if the Nintendo Switch 2 releasing in June made them want to clear the runway. That being said, I still think July would have been great. I personally, if I were them, would have put it against Death Stranding 2, because they have nothing coming out in the end of June, and Death Stranding 2 is coming out for PlayStation, and it's like, okay, well, what are you doing, right? Especially when it's like, why release it in the most crowded part of your season, right? This is when you had the most back-to-back games. That being said, if they show that trailer tomorrow, I want a shadow drop tomorrow. Unless it is a huge remake, which we can get back to that remake remaster discussion, I want it to come out now. If it's just a remaster, I don't want to wait multiple months. Now, will I get that? I don't know. It probably, maybe I'll have to wait. But I just feel like if they're just going to do a fresh coat of paint, don't make me wait when they show it, right? Like, we've seen too many remasters and remakes, looking at you, Sony, that give us a date 3 or 4 months down the road that we don't need anymore of. So, so Josh, you wanted to talk about how much you think remasters and remakes are totally different and they're whatever. I don't know. What was your point, bro? We want to know.
I was just curious about what you guys think. I mean, what constitutes a remaster versus a remake? Because I mean, what, like we talked about with Oblivion, like that rumor that all the original codes being run through the Unreal 5. It seems like at that point everything's being rebuilt practically. So wouldn't that count as a remake? But
I mean, Gerald, do you want to give your opinion? Because I already weighed in. My thought is if it's the same code, it's a remaster if they're not doing anything new.
Remake just for this game doesn't go all the way. I'm just going to be honest with you. As much as I love this game and I will get this game, to me, it needs a remaster. It needs from a ground up perspective, especially with the Skyrim Oblivion thing that's going on. Yeah.
You're talking about the mod. You're talking about the Sky Oblivion mod.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, with that going on and how it's going to look for that, they need to go a step further.
I agree. I think they need to do a remake.
Be excited about this.
Yeah. I think I think the remaster is if it is a remaster, which we'll find out tomorrow, I think it would be a very poor decision. But if it's coming for free to Game Pass, again, like what can we complain about,
They are going to tweak the mechanics, certain things about it. Some things I like about the quirks of Oblivion that, for me, have made it more entertaining than Skyrim. I know there's a big debate. Which one do you like more, 4 or 5, 5 or 4? I prefer 4 or 5, 4 than 5.
But, I think we lost the glass man. You cut out.
Right here. I'm back here. Oh, yep. For me, it's about taking advantage of it when you have quirks in the game that
Yeah.
benefit you, like companions that suddenly you're supposed to just take on one little small quest. You end up taking them for like 30 or 40 hours and they help do your bidding against all your enemies. Those kind of things, or like glitches when you defeat some pirates and then you keep getting their money for every week. On the week
So
you would get extra stash and those things like that I think Oblivion had its charm that I'm not sure it will remain if it's remade or even remastered.
I
Go
do
ahead,
think
Josh.
though. Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
Oh.
Oh,
Josh,
I
'cause
was gonna
wanna
say, I mean
touch on
that's
that.
kind of the thing with Elder Scrolls games though. Like even if you were to remake it, would you really even be able to tell that much? Because the Elder Scroll games they're glitchy as hell, man.
I
And
mean,
like
but that's a remake, right? We have never seen it. We've never seen Elder Scrolls remake. We've only seen a bunch of remasters.
but
All of the
even
Skyrim stuff is just a
yeah,
bunch of remasters they keep
right.
re-releasing.
But even Skyrim did not look that much different than Oblivion did, like
but
in terms of graphics.
But yeah, but that's because while I'm getting as though they have never done a remake. So I would love to see a remake because currently what we've seen, you're like, oh, they've got all these bugs and stuff. That's because they literally just keep using the same code. They never change it and they just put a fresh coat of paint on it every time. We've never seen a remake yet. They've never done one. There's no remake of Dragon or Hammerfall. There's no remake of Morrowind. All we have are remasters. And if they do another remaster of Oblivion, I think like many people, I'm going to turn it on, try it for about 10 minutes, and then, or, maybe an hour,
Yeah.
and then probably never play it again. Because
So I remember. No, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I thought they already remastered Oblivion though, because didn't they release?
They've never remastered Oblivion. No, there's currently a mod coming out. So your options to play Oblivion right now are play the 360 version or play a PC version. Or PS3, I guess.
I'd picked up a game from Walmart that was in an Xbox One case that had it was Oblivion.
Yes.
So what was that?
So Microsoft did what's like called like an upres thing on their
Yeah.
site, which they did like. Do you don't remember that where they did FPS boost and stuff?
No,
I think it takes it from 480 to 720 or 720 to 1080.
Yeah, so they did a bunch of little things on the hardware side, not on the software side, where they updated the stuff on the hardware, or I guess they did it through the hardware on the software side, right? So there was updates. So what Microsoft did is they resold all of those in Xbox One cases. There was like, I think Fallout 3, Elder Scrolls 4, a bunch of games, right? When they did that. But no, there's been no Oblivion anythings since the original. So they just did that like little patch, if you want to call it that, like a little update patch. But that being said, I would love to see a remake. I'd love to see them tool around with things. I'd love to see them make the combat more weighted, make it feel like heavier when you hit. I don't think they need to remake the story or remake any of those things. I think that's stuff that Elder Scrolls is great at. But I do feel like, it's been a while since I played it, but I tried playing Skyrim last year and I again fell off because it's just not very fun to hit things at all. It's a very basic, boring movement system that feels its age of 2011, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just hoping tomorrow that we get it immediately, and I hope it's a remake. I am hoping it's not a remaster, but it is more likely than not going to be a remaster because that is that's what they've done. They do that every time. They did, how many remasters of Skyrim did they do? At least 2? I know they did the one for Xbox One, and
that's not everything like from a console to a calculator.
Yeah, the Switch one was the original files, if I remember correctly.
Well, so Skyrim's never done a remake, so it's just I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but it's the same game every time.
No,
they
but
the DLCs.
It wasn't remastered though. It was, I think, the Switch one was
just the original 360
just
title,
the original
probably,
360. Yeah.
And then the Xbox One was just the 361 with better graphics, and the Series X one was 360, or the Xbox One with better graphics and frame rate. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny because this is how I feel like for BioWare, Bethesda, all of these companies that if you would have talked to me mid early 2010s, I would have been like, these are the best companies. They are making the coolest RPGs, blah, blah, blah. Something happened in like 2012, 2014 time where pretty much every Western RPG company lost it. They lost their ability to make games, and we have not seen something interesting. Like, I feel really bad. I've definitely gone on a whirlwind trajectory with Starfield where I started it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll ever play that game again. I just don't care. It's I don't find it interesting enough.
Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to go off that. But anyways, the remake remaster stuff, if you want to debate what constitutes a remake or a remaster, we can. But I think my idea of like, hey, it's the remake is when you're actually changing source code, you're changing the graphic, you're changing all that, the polygons or whatever, the asset packs. That's what I would consider a remake. These remasters are generally just upreses and slight tweaks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say anything rebuilt from the ground up would be constitute a remake. But
The Last of Us Part 1 is called a remake, though, and I don't know if you guys saw that. That is like the calling that a remake is really being generous with the word. It is the exact same game with new assets, and not even really new assets. Just like, do you remember when the original Spider-Man game came out on PS4 and they had a different Peter Parker, and then from like the movie, and they changed him through a patch? You could have released that game later and called it a remake at that point, right? If you want to follow the Sony stuff. So Janky, you got another story that I don't know very much about called Microsoft BDS. It says, I assume the BTS. It's that Korean pop band, and Microsoft did a collab.
Right. Yeah,
they do that song Butter, man. They love it.
Ooh.
No,
so this has just been popping up. So there's a BDS movement, and
what is BDS?
So boycott, divestment, sanctions. They're campaigns, where people try to go after companies to get them to divest their interest in conflict or whatnot. So there's one campaign that it started out in Palestine, and it's it's being backed by all these foreign entities and stuff, but they're calling for a boycott of Microsoft, specifically in the Xbox category, because of Microsoft's involvement in the war in Gaza. So they are I guess Israel is using their Microsoft software to
were we talking Excel, PowerPoint, Office, Cloud? I'm just saying,
right.
it is a little unfair when people are like, hey, Microsoft's aiding and abetting the war, when it's like they use Microsoft Office Suite, because it's like you could say the same thing about every foreign government. When I was living over in China, guess what we use for every single thing? Microsoft PowerPoint. Does that mean they support the CCP? I don't know. I feel like some people take this stuff and they're like, Microsoft's part of it, right?
And by the way, if they did a ban, or if they did a protest against Xbox as the distant number 3 in console sellers, will that really make a difference?
Well, I don't know. So that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit more, because this company, or this specific campaign, like all these a lot of the publications that I frequent have been talking about this. Same thing with a lot of podcasts that I've been listening to. And they're talking about how, like, we're not going to be covering Microsoft stuff anymore until Microsoft changes their ways, blah, blah, blah. And
we would do this. By the way, can you name one of the outlets? I just haven't heard anything about this before you brought it up today.
So the last one I got to today was the guys at the Nextlander podcast. I think Kotaku had
Vinny
something.
Caravella.
Yeah.
But they already hated Microsoft.
Right. But they specifically had said, like, if it was Sony, we'd do the same thing. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. That's whatever. But anyways, like, this is these publications are talking about boycotting Microsoft, but it's the same public, and they're like, well, that will go up to the top level, and then maybe they'll think about what they're doing. But these are the same. They don't realize that Microsoft has multiple times questioned whether or not they should just cut the gaming division, period. Right. So you have these, and it's these same like publications, same people that were complaining about Microsoft, shuttering studios, and they're okay with the possibility of having a bunch of studios be shuttered because they are supporting a boycott. So it's a really weird.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I mean, like the war stuff to me is whatever. I'm not totally involved in this stuff. I try to stay out of the news cycle. I'm not a fan of war, kind of in any capacity. So it's like, that's just who I am as by nature. But that being said, like, a company being invested in a war, right? Like Sony, Microsoft, whoever. I don't know if you guys remember. I think Sony made the original Sony made or manufactured things for the Japanese military during World War II, right? Does that mean we don't ever buy anything from them ever again because they were our enemies one time? I personally think that's a very intense take on things, right? But when it comes to Microsoft and stuff, depending on their engagement, I could maybe understand, right? Like, are they letting them use their software? Are they giving, are they aiding $300 billion, right? Or is it a small like NGO that they're funding,
It's
right? Because there's so
Azure,
many of
whatever
those.
Azure
Everybody
is.
uses
Yeah.
Azure. I work for one of the biggest healthcare companies in the United States. They also use Azure. Everybody uses Azure. They're the number one cloud-based platform. Last I checked, there is a chance that Amazon's data warehouse, AWS, is bigger. I believe, though, Azure is actually the biggest. I personally think these people like, Nextlander and stuff, they have always disliked Microsoft. I've listened to them back when they were on the Bombcast or the Beastcast because they were the New York folk. They've never liked Microsoft, as far as I know. So it's like listening to people like, well, I like my enemies to fail, so I'm going to make this person. Who cares what they think?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
about Microsoft, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because if you choose to boycott Games Pass or Microsoft or whatever, you have to remember that these gaming studios, Microsoft owns probably a good 60% of the gaming industry now. And if you were to, but those people, the developers, these companies have nothing to do with what's going on at the top. And Microsoft is a massive corporation. So Xbox is not directly involved in whatever's happening, overseas. And you're creating a situation where you are going, I mean, it could have the power to shutter all these companies, who knows, but it's not a good situation for anybody, especially in this we're in a time where game companies aren't staying alive very long. So what happens if all of this is successful, and we lose all these development companies?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry about like some small, whatever this is, the initiative that they're doing, like shuttering groups. I mean, I feel like every single one of these things, whether they're against woke stuff or whether they're against whatever stuff, whatever they're against, they don't work, right? Like Assassin's Creed Shadow is the second highest selling game of 2025, right? And there is a large subset of the internet who is dead set on it failing, right? Because of like whatever you could say, because of Yasuke, you could say because of the way they treat Japanese stuff, all these things, right? I just feel like whenever you talk about these, there's this word that people hate, fringe elements on either side, you're gonna have like a bunch of people who are like, hey, we're gonna stop this thing and we're gonna give our peace of mind, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's gonna affect Microsoft in the grand scheme, right? Microsoft doesn't really do game sales anymore anyways. If somehow they convince, I don't even know how many Game Pass subscribers there are right now. I think it's 40 million. If somehow they convince 10 million subscribers to drop off, then that will actually do some damage, right? But that would be insane. I don't even think they have 10 million listeners.
Or their releases on PlayStation 5, like Indiana Jones, which just got released, not do well, or
Yeah, they have 34 million subscribers right now on Game Pass or around there. So if they convince half of those people to leave, yes, then I could see your concerns about Microsoft going out of business over this. Microsoft is a multi-billion dollar, I think they're maybe $1 trillion company now. I can never remember how high the numbers are in terms of companies. I don't see, those small groups like do anything ever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't believe in this, going about things this way. I mean, like I said, the Xbox division has no hand in whatever is happening at the top of Microsoft. And I think that a lot of this is, I don't want to say it's virtue signaling, but it's like, look at,
it is.
Look at us. So
I mean, it is virtue signaling because my assumption is, and maybe they won't, maybe they're going to cancel their Game Pass subscriptions and not talk about Indiana Jones and never play another Microsoft game as long as they live, right? But I mean, you're going to find yourself like in a road where, when do you draw the line? What do you say no to, right? Like there were a lot of people on the other side, right, during the last few years where it's like, hey, Target did this or whoever did that or whatever did this or whoever did that. where do you say I'm gonna stop doing, like, so you eat dirt and die? I mean, like, what do you do, right? Because
Yeah.
all of these companies you can find something bad about for the most part, unless you're just buying from like individual bespoke guy in a farm somewhere. But most of us don't have the time, money, or ability to go and just order from one person we know is a saint. So yeah, I just think, like, personally, Vinny and Alex and Brad, I really like their content for years. I fell off Nextlander. I didn't find it nearly as interesting as the Bombcast. I also fell off the Bombcast. Don't find that very interesting anymore. And the fact they're part of some weird initiative to like boycott Microsoft,
It's just so funny because like I really enjoyed listening to those guys until this last episode.
I stopped
we
listening
talked
to them
about
when they started a show one of their shows a long time ago. First half hour was about San Francisco garbage, and I said I'm done. I just said I'm done.
Right.
I'm done. Yeah, I was. They just a half hour. I'm like, you wasted a half hour of my life listening to this. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll tune in. Even the end of the year stuff that they used to be so noted for, has gone downhill as well. Yeah,
of course.
It's just not the same.
I listened to last year's, which it was funny because last year's the quality was actually really
I tried.
bad.
I tried to.
Really bad
Yeah,
quality.
I can't get through it. Yeah, but the regular week to week shows, I left that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't do Bombcasts anymore. I do like I was pretty faithful to Nextlander until recently, but yeah.
Well, here's who we're going to be faithful to, is you, the listener. Okay, we're always faithful to you guys. We may be in affairs with Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all at the same time. Okay, a menage a trois. Okay, for 4 of these companies, and we love them, plus Steam. So I guess a menage a cinco. Yeah, but the main one that we got to talk about, because we didn't talk about this at all last week, Nintendo Switch 2. Hooray! Glassman loves it. He can't wait. We didn't get to talk about
resell,
the
resell,
No,
eBay.
No,
Woohoo! Yeah,
no.
eBay.
Well, okay,
Resell
real talk though.
eBay.
What do you guys predict the eBay prices are going to hit?
At least 800. 800.
Okay. I'm thinking like 12.
1,200.
I'm thinking 12. Yeah.
How hard do you think it's going to be to get one of these? And we're gonna be showing you some clips from that Nintendo Direct that happened
Because they did
redo.
they reignited the pre-sales for it, so you can pre-order it now. And
April 24th.
June 24th, you said?
No, April 24th is the pre-order date. So this coming
June
Wednesday
6th
at
is
night.
still the release for the actual.
And the price didn't change outside of some of the accessory pricing. Some of it went up like $5 or $10.
Oh, yeah. All of them went up. All of their accessories went up.
Yeah. If you look at it, honestly, I feel like the price comparatively to what I paid for the Switch one in almost 10 years ago now, it's pretty fair for most of the accessories. I think the console itself is a harder pill to swallow because it's, a 50% increase, essentially, right? The original was $300. They upped it $150. So that's a lot, right? But the actual accessories themselves, like $80 is a lot for a controller, but
it's actually really 90 surprising? For the Pro controller now. I think it's 90.
Are you sure? I'm almost positive it's 80.
Why are controllers
I think it went up.
So expensive?
All of them, all the prices went up.
Just because they know you want it. Okay.
Dude,
so
well, we used to when the original Xbox
85
came out,
it went up too.
When the original Xbox came out, you can go out and buy even just the Xbox branded controller you could get for like $25, man.
Can you do Mario on a cart or grinding a rail? Could you do that on your Xbox? Could you do a cow on a Vespa that looks like a boombox?
I must need that $90 controller to make that happen.
And you need the $80 game, and you need the $100 subscription, and you need the $500 console, and you need the $50 camera or $60 camera now. You need all those things, okay?
It'll never be enough.
So let's go.
Okay, Joy-Con. Do you want a new set of Joy-Cons for $95? $95 for Joy-Cons.
Yes, I do. I want to buy about 10 of those. So I will need to buy $950.
$95 for Joy-Con Drift.
By the way, did you guys watch the Direct, or you just read it?
I watched the trailers that came out. I didn't actually watch the live thing.
I'm not gonna waste my whole time on that.
Oh, I loved it. I ate it. I ate it up. Num 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 num. I couldn't wait. I loved every second of it. It was that was Glass Man not yawning. He was so excited. That was his excited yawn. But no, it was incredible, and the music is insane. Like the Mario Kart World music is just like the best music ever. But let's talk about some of the big highlights. So Mario Kart World, that's the big one, right? We already talked about its price, $80. Did you guys get to watch the Mario Kart World Direct?
80 if you want the download.
Yeah, or 90 if you're a
want
loser.
That
if you're a loser,
remember,
you got to
Josh
get that physical.
is a physical media
Physical
guy.
Connoisseur.
So $90 for Josh.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, Josh also has a premium tax because he buys games twice on PlayStation and Xbox. So he buys Forza Horizon 5 for full price as well. Okay, so Mario Kart World, you were all buys, right? Every single one of us are buying this day one?
Nope.
Okay. Are you going to buy it, Josh?
I might buy it.
I mean,
Actually,
it depends,
I might
man.
buy it in 2029 when the price
It depends on if I can even get a Switch 2. You know, I'm going to log on Wednesday and see if I can grab a pre-order, but I don't know, man.
Man,
Do you have enough hours?
Oh, that's the May one. That's the May pre-order. So even if this Wednesday doesn't work out, Nintendo has a thing where if you are signed up to Nintendo Switch Online and you played 50 hours, you can do it, which I have all. So I'm hoping I get chosen in that lottery. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, so he's not. Josh is going to leave it to chance, okay? He doesn't care about his life. He's just hoping he won't die. Mario Kart World looks insane. The free roam is going to be amazing. I cannot wait. That's kind of probably the biggest title for the first bit of the Switch 2. At the Direct, they also showed off another biggie. We'll just skip to the end, and then we'll talk about the one other biggie there, which was Borderlands 4. Yes, that was the big one. No, the man himself, Donkey Kong Bonanza with all A's. I think this is going to be so much fun. This game is coming at $70. It's coming in a month after the Switch launch in July, which is really strange. They didn't release it at launch, but it's coming pretty quick after. Are you guys going to buy and play this?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I am interested, and
I want to play.
Like we've talked about like why on the Switch like multiple times. We've talked about why there was never a Donkey Kong game release outside Tropical Freeze, but
yeah,
which
was a Wii U game,
which was a Wii U game, yeah. But this makes the wait seem well worth it. Allegedly, and I guess we won't know until the game comes out, but this was made by the Odyssey developer.
Odyssey team, yeah. But I mean, it has been 8 years, so the hope is, I don't know if you guys saw the Doug Bowser note today, but that there might be a 3D Mario in the works too. This could have been. Nintendo is historically known for keeping things on the back burner so they can release them when they want. So for all we know, this has been done for a long time, and they might have been working on a 3D Mario as well, which is what I'm hoping, because I think this looks fun, but it's not a collectathon, and I need to collect. Okay, I need it all.
Those moons,
I need to collect it all. I don't collect physicals anymore. I need to collect these digital.
I'll be playing
moons.
Doom and Oblivion. Thank you very much.
I will be playing Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World. Thank you very much. And Death Stranding 2.
And I'll be playing for $20 a month, or actually free because of my Bing points. You will have spent hundreds of dollars. Enjoy.
Yeah. I like spending hundreds of dollars too. But okay, so the next other biggest titles, they had a bunch of ports coming out. Everybody's favorite. The reason why Jank bought a PS5 right when it launched, Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to Switch 2, which will be cool. I played that on my deck. I'm hoping it's going to hold up well.
Well, can you watch your language, please?
Yeah, the deck. Well, the deck's the best console ever, so of course it's going to be the best. Elden Ring, also which I play on the deck, that's coming to Switch 2 at launch, which is going to be cool. Cyberpunk 2077, that's coming at Switch 2 launch. Are you guys going to play any of these ports or no?
No, I'm just going to laugh if Cyberpunk 2077 can't run right on the Switch 2.
So
remember the problems initially on the PS4 for Cyberpunk 2077?
This is true. But that's a question right there, right? Because look at Final Fantasy Intergrade. It didn't come out on PS4 because I thought was it something to do with like processing power or something?
They said they couldn't do it, which I think was a lie. But yeah, they said it couldn't come
out
on PS4.
The Switch 2 has the same processing power as the PS4, and they're releasing it on the Switch 2. So
Switch 2 is going to be closer to PS4 Pro because the Switch 1 can run some PlayStation 4 games. So I think it's gonna be closer to PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. For me, like I don't come to Nintendo consoles for graphical fidelity. They haven't done that since GameCube, and even GameCube, I don't think they were the best. But it really is their games, and one of the only 3 that they really had that were like showing off. They did Mario Kart, they did Donkey Kong Bonanza, they talked about Mario Party upgrades and some updates to some of their games. But really, the other one that everybody went goo goo gaga over, and we were gaga goo gooing all day, is a game called, what is the name of this game? It is called Blood.
Is that the From Software title?
Yes, Dusk Bloods. Dusk Bloods. This is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive title. It is from Software, which is like one of the probably preeminent developers you can choose nowadays, from Elden Ring and all those other games. And yeah, I'm excited. The only thing I don't love is it is a PvPvE game. It is not going to be predominantly a single player game with some multiplayer. It is supposed to be mostly PvP, but it does look incredible, and I think it will be a lot of fun. And I'm going to definitely get that day one, okay? It is a 2026 title, though, so I'm going to have a long day one to wait.
So what are your thoughts on the re-releasing Switch games on Switch 2 for a lot more money?
I think if you're not a non-Steam Deck owner, it's 100% worth it. If you don't have a Steam Deck and you can't play any of those games portably, I totally think it's worth every penny.
You can't play Breath of the Wild on Steam Deck anyways.
Yeah, of course, but you said the re-released games, right? Like you're talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No. Sorry, I'm talking about the
sorry.
Nintendo titles like Super Mario Jamboree, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, you don't have to pay for those games. So why? I don't even know what's the question.
Yeah, you do. They're selling like physical copies of them.
Yeah,
or
you can
copies.
if you want to buy a second copy of it. I guess you could do that, or you
Is it
could
upgrade too?
It's an upgrade.
Okay, is it free?
It's free if you have Nintendo Switch Online.
Interesting. Okay, all right.
Or you can pay, I guess, I think $20, but I think I'd do free.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah. So all of the upgrades, from what it sounds like, from what I read, they are all going to be free. Even the ones that are DLC, like the Kirby Forgotten Lands DLC, I believe they're all going to be free upgrade, or not free upgrades, free upgrades for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers, and I believe it's between $10 or $20 for the other ones, right? So if it's like, I think the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I think might be $10, and the Forgotten Lands, the one that adds a lot more content, is $20. So yeah, but I mean, you can pay $80 and get a new case if you want. I don't see the value in that. You know what I mean?
Sign me up.
Yeah. Let's get this guy on like 10 new copies of these games because they have a new red case, which is way better than the original red case. So Glassman, this isn't making you want to play. You're not gonna be like, oh man, I gotta play this.
I'll be too busy in Cyrodiil, and I'll be too busy slaying in Doom.
In 2026, you're gonna be still playing Doom, Dark Ages, and
a lot of hours put into.
I'll probably the Xbox handheld will probably come out by that time, and I'll be good.
And what will you be playing on that?
Anything but Nintendo games, that's for sure.
Okay, well, we got a number one hater, so I'm going to ignore
Game Pass.
Jim.
Again, you're asking me to make another several $100 commitment to another platform.
I'm not asking.
I haven't even done it for PlayStation because they haven't brought out a game that I could really connect with. Why are you asking me to do it here? And you're asking me to spend $700-800 after all said and done with games, accessories, and the actual Switch. Not to mention if I have to go ahead and buy it from some reseller for a lot more. I'm not making that kind of commitment in today's economy with something that I'm already very familiar with, and my girls are not excited for any of the stuff. Even my Pokemon fan is not excited for what's coming out.
AZ and a better quality frame rate looked way better.
She thinks it does not. So, and she has played a ton of hours in it. It's just like you. So, again, if they're not excited, I'm not excited, and I'm not going to commit to it. I think there are better uses and allocations for my money, and it would be on an Xbox handheld, which can play my Steam games, my Epic games, my Xbox games, Game Pass, and my emulation. I've said before, that's what I'm more attracted to if that happens.
I mean,
If
the
you
thing is, I wasn't
draw-
asking. I'm demanding that you spend the money. So you have
if
to
you-
do it. So
If you draw a PlayStation symbol on the Xbox handheld, will
Yeah.
it play PlayStation games?
that's the trick. Everyone knows
knows?
that. So real quick before we end this show, Welcome Tour. I know that's the #1 game coming out to Switch. Are you gonna get that one, Josh?
Which
That-
sorry, you
Yeah,
skipped.
that's the one you
man.
have to
What did
spend
you
money
say?
for.
That's the $10 manual, but you get to play a bunch of mini games in it. I'm actually gonna buy it. I'm
Oh.
excited to play that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know.
Typical
I don't know. I don't know.
figures.
Where's Astrobot, man? That's all I want to know. Can I
Yes,
blow into the Switch controllers and make it do things? Like that's what I want to do.
That's what they do, bro. Are you guys excited for the GameCube games only coming to Switch 2?
That's what emulations for.
You're gonna get some.
Yeah, we don't
at your
condone
door,
this.
Okay, we don't believe in emulation.
That's what
here.
emulations for. I'll just leave it at that.
The emulation's not for that. You're not supposed to use emulation. Okay, it's a lie.
Why not? I just said for my Xbox handheld.
I
I see so many channels say that they do it. So there you go.
Well, not us. Okay, not
Who
over
knows
here,
what
we're
I could be
saints.
emulating? Who knows?
Yeah, I would assume you'd be
This
emulating.
podcast is an emulation.
Yeah, we only
There you go.
emulate our own podcast now. All right, bros. Well, I'm excited for the Switch 2. Here we're #1 Switch 2 fans, mainly Glassman. He's ordering as many copies of it as he can. Like, he just loves it. He has been like waiting for every second of it. He doesn't want Oblivion. And by the time you listen to this, that will be out and probably out. We don't know, but it's going to be incredible. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, that's it. That's it. Yeah. Get your Switch 2s on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal has some time on his hands.
Yeah, he'll be playing
I'll
Switch
leave
2
it at that.
nonstop. Hooray!
Or Oblivion.
Never.
All right. We out of here?
Amen.
Peace.
Peace.
BS.